Welcome everyone to the IDW Sonic Free Comic Book Day 2021 special. For those who don't know, Free Comic Book Day is an event when once a year, comic companies would print comics for stores to freely distribute. They would either contain new stories, reprints of previous stories, or a recap of a series so far. Whatever the content, the goal was to try to gain new readers while boosting comic shop sales. The event has happened every year since it started in 2002. However, it did not happen last year due to the pandemic. Instead, there was a Free Comic Book Day summer where from July through early September of 2020, retailers would receive 5 to 6 Free Comic Book Day titles as part of their weekly shipments. It was to accommodate social distancing and store regulations at the time, while people can still experience the event. And while the pandemic is still happening, things have improved, enough to allow Free Comic Book Day 2021 to happen, only at a later date. Usually Free Comic Book Days happen on the first Saturday of May. This year, it was on the second Saturday of August. Sonic comics are no stranger to Free Comic Book Days. When Archie had the license, they released several throughout the years. And yes, I have reviewed some of them. Now it's IDW Sonic's turn, and its first special just happens to coincide with Sonic's 30th anniversary. Earlier this year, I reviewed an 80-page special celebrating 30 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. Notable because it is the first time IDW Sonic visited the classic era. Free Comic Book Day 2021 features a new story that is also set in the same era. So in a way, this is DLC to the bigger special. As such, I will format the review in the same way I did with that one. You're probably tired of me stalling, so I'll get straight to it, and spoilers from here on out. Our story begins with Tails heading over to Amy's house. She invited him over to lunch since Sonic's doing his solo thing, and he was getting a bit lonely. The two talk about how Sonic can't stand still for a few seconds without going stir-crazy. This leads to Tails talking about a time where this caused a problem. He and Sonic were waiting for Batniks to lead them to a new Eggman hidden base, but as soon as they showed up, Sonic spin dashed them to bits. He stops when he notices Amy scribbling notes in a book. When he accuses Amy of being an Eggman spy, she leads him into a room where she shows him a bigger book, one that contains a series of comic strips of her friends. Tails asks if anyone else has seen them. Amy says no. Until now, she hasn't let anyone else see them because she thinks they're terrible. Tails wants to prove her wrong. After all, an earlier panel reveals he loved them. Now, he wants to show others. And by pure coincidence, Mighty and Ray just happen to be passing by. He shows them a strip starring the two of them, and they love it. And then Tails gives them the rest of the book to look at. Sometime later, Sonic zooms past Amy's house, only to double back when he notices some activity going on over there. A large crowd has gathered to look at Amy's comics. Among them are Bean and Bark, 3 members of Sonic's band, and Honey the Cat. Sonic wants to know what's going on, and Tails wants him to read the comics. And this causes Amy to go into complete freakout mode, especially since Sonic's really looking at them closely. Fortunately, he loves them, and is happy that Amy is chronicling their adventures in general. We end with Sonic telling her of the time he sort of fought Eggman on his birthday, while she takes notes. Hey, continuity! Makes sense since the writer of this story, Gail Galligan, also wrote Dr. Eggman's birthday for the 30th anniversary special. I assume many of you who are watching this saw my review of the 30th anniversary special. But just in case, Gail Galligan is a New York Times best-selling author known for her work on the Babysitter's Club comic. Here, she gives us a glimpse of Amy Rose's private life, retelling the adventures of Sonic and his friends in a comic format. Though judging by this torn page here, she may have over-exaggerated certain elements. Based on these images, I agree with every in-universe character. Amy's work is good, and she's a child. Best I can do as an adult are stick figures. Despite this, Amy has that fear many creators get with regards to their work, the fear of rejection. It's kind of like how George McFly in Back to the Future was afraid to show his stories because he was worried people wouldn't like them. Eventually, with the help of his future son, he would gain confidence, enough that down the line, he would fully invest in a career as a writer. How does this apply to Amy? Again, it comes down to confidence. Instead of time-traveling relatives, it's the reactions of her friends, peers, and later strangers that allowed Amy to share her work. Okay, Tails accusing her of being an Eggman spy started the whole thing, but the point stands. And I don't think he apologized to her about that. Amy got lucky that everyone, even her crush Sonic, loves the comics. A lot of times, creators do face rejection and harsh criticism. Perhaps in this universe, the only harsh critic in this case would be Dr. Eggman. Still, I see a future for this Amy as a comic publisher. She could theoretically get her work published right now if she wants to, or at least try. It would be a good way to preserve her work. Out of universe, you can thank penciler Thomas Rothlisberger and colorist Natalie Fordrain for the art. They also worked on the story Dr. Eggman's Birthday. I don't normally comment on the coloring because I just let the images speak for themselves, but I do like how Natalie colors Amy every time she feels a sense of dread when a new person reads her comic strips. It ties back to that whole fear of rejection I mentioned earlier. And again, the art looks great, really captures that classic Sonic feeling. With the story being a part of the 30th anniversary celebration, there are plenty of Easter eggs. In addition to the cameos I previously mentioned, Amy has the Breeze, her Sonic Drift vehicle, parked outside her house. Here she either picked up a souvenir from Little Planet, or was inspired to paint that on her house. And finally, there's something familiar about this comic strip.
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you since I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
Doesn't ring a bell. Amy's new hobby is a nice heartwarming way to cap off IDW Sonic's 30th anniversary celebration. If you happen to miss out on this issue, don't worry. It will be reprinted along with the other 3 classic Sonic stories in the 30th anniversary special deluxe edition coming out later this year. Or if you have access to apps like Cosmixology or ones that sell comic books in general, you can download just the issue itself. For free, of course. I could end it here, but I have a few more things to say about this free comic book day issue. The free comic book day special is the size of a regular issue. Amy's new hobby is 10 pages long. The rest of the special is a dedicated recap of what's happened in the main series so far. Again, this is for potential new readers who picked up the special, who may not know that there is an actual series, or it could be for those who have dropped out and wanted to check up on things. Anyway, notable events in the recap include Neo Metal Sonic, Mr. Tinker, the Metal Virus, the Deadly Six's arrival, Starline striking out on his own, and Bell the Tinkerer. Sadly, there's nothing related to the Tangle and Whisper miniseries, which is a shame because people deserve to know more about them. The Starline stuff gets more focused because, at the end of the recap, there is a note revealing the series' future plans, including a new miniseries, Sonic Imposter Syndrome, and the road to issue 50, where Eggman and Starline's plans are coming to a head. While I am excited for the comic's milestone event, I'm intrigued by the miniseries. At first, I thought it would involve the mercenary Mimic, who is a shapeshifter, but thanks to newly released information, it seems it's about Starline finally putting his long-term plans into action. And based on this retail incentive cover, I think we've just met the occupants of Starline's green tubes. And all this starts in November. Well, that's it for my look at this year's free comic book day special. Hopefully there will be another one next year, especially since the main comic's 50th issue will be coming out then. Gotta promote the occasion any way possible. Have a good day, everyone. Little did Amy know, by featuring the new Chili Dog stand in her comics, she created a potential rival to the Mr. Munchins franchise.